Good evening. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors to join us via our interpretation line. The phone number for that line is 646-749-3122. When they answer the call, please share the code 779-328-221. You'll also see that number and code on the screen as well as in our comments. Antes de comenzar, invitamos a nuestros vecinos de habla español que se unen a nosotros por medio de llamar a la línea de conferencia en cual recibirán interpretación en español. El número de teléfono es 646-749-3122. Cuando le levantan la llamada, por favor, comparte el código que aparece en la pantalla, que es 779-328-221. Hi, my name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the executive director and the lead organizer for Southside Organizing Center. Welcome to the last segment of the day for our fall 2022 Vote-A-Thon. Welcome to our neighbors and our followers, and especially our forum superfans, which we haven't seen for a while, although I got to see some of you in person over the last couple of months, and that was really exciting. Thank you for allowing us to be with you on this very important election day to share nonpartisan information. That is, we don't promote any political party or candidate. We simply want to share critical voting information and keep connected to you on this day. We've been trying to connect with our neighbors all along, right? That's part of our mission, but in particular around civic engagement. And we've been doing that via going door to door, visiting you at your homes, phone calls, text, social media, etc. It's our goal to reach to make 25,000 outreach attempts. We want to reach our neighbors in our house, all the households in our district, which are about 25,000 households. When we call you, what you'll notice is we have a three-part way of connecting. One is the most important, which is doing a care call. And there we're just asking you, what information and resources do you need, or what would you like us to work with you on? Second, it's checking in to see if you have all your questions answered about voting today. And third is to check on any information or resources you need regarding COVID. And we've been distributing supplies like masks and sanitizers and door pulls, etc. Listen, I myself, like you all, have been bombarded with contacts this season, especially political. I mean, the car warranties, the can I buy your house, the scam calls. And we're sorry that that's such an overload for all of us right now. But we hope that our contact with you has been helpful. And we understand when you're frustrated, even when you're frustrated with us at times because of those contacts. We're trying to keep those contacts short, and we're offering incentives for you to share your time with us. We can't see who's with us unless you say hello in the comments. So we invite you, who's with us here this evening? Drop us a line, say hello. And if you did get to vote today, why don't you share what number you were at your voting location? That would be interesting to see. All along this segment, we want to offer you the opportunity to ask questions. And we really want you to take advantage of the opportunities we're going to share for you to collaborate with us throughout this segment. Let me tell you a little bit about SOC if you don't know about us. We are entering our 33rd year of service to you all. And we happen to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on Milwaukee's South Side. And we're very proud and honored to have been serving you all this time. And I'm just going to share our mission with you so you understand where we're going in the long haul, which is we're a neighborhood-based nonprofit organization, and we're really dedicated to developing and sustaining Milwaukee's near southside neighborhoods. SOC works with you all, grassroots organizing, and for you all, which is advocacy, in order to create a safe, livable, and economically vibrant community. And to that, we are committed to making sure that you have a voice and a vote and a vehicle to organize together on the issues that affect you and to make positive changes in your neighborhood. Let me share with you how the rest of the segment is going to go. During each segment, we'll introduce an opportunity for you to partner with us. And those opportunities enter you into different drawings for gift cards. And that's for our Southside neighbors. So let me share what district we're in, because you must live in our district in order to participate in those. Our district includes on the north, Pierce Street, on the south, Oklahoma Avenue, on the east, First Street, and on the west, 43rd Street, or what we now call Brewers Boulevard, right? Which was formerly the Milwaukee, the Miller Parkway. So we're going to share those opportunities, and then we're going to share the last of the voting updates for today, because you have 2 hours to make it to vote at your location today. And we're going to share the interviews we did with experts in the civic voting democracy arena. They'll provide critical information you need to know and resources, and then we'll try to answer any questions you have. We've been doing this all day. It's our Vote-A-Thon, a tradition we started when we launched our civic department. And so we held 8 o'clock, a 10 o'clock, a 12 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, and now our final segment, the 6 o'clock segment. And the 10 and 12 and 4 o'clock segments were in collaboration, or our youth hosted those, our youth department. So we're super proud of those segments in particular. Before we get started on today's voting information, I want to invite you to our first opportunity, which is we're getting ready to set our priorities for the next couple of years, and we want you involved in that, because essentially we are here to serve you. So I'm going to share that opportunity with you now. Throughout today, we're going to have opportunities for you to engage with us. And so let me review the order. We're going to be sharing an opportunity and then interviewing a guest that is going to bring critical information and resources about the election today for you. And so it'll go an opportunity, an interview, opportunity, interview, opportunity, interview 4 times. And so the first one, and all of those opportunities are either surveys or invitations to register for an opportunity to get you engaged with the work that we do for you. And every opportunity that you engage in is going to enter you into a drawing for a $50 gift card. And that's only good today. So any surveys or registrations have to be completed today, Tuesday, November 8th. And then we'll do the drawing live on Facebook for each of those tomorrow. So we want to make sure that you dig in and get them in before midnight tonight. When I share the opportunity and explain it, you're going to see a slide that will show you a link and a QR code. We're also going to put the link and QR code in the comments. And so if you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the survey or the registration. And if you want to use the QR code, you take your camera and you place it over the QR code, and then it pops up. The QR code is a little square with a bunch of symbols, designs in it. And if you wait, it'll pop up a link, and like a button, a yellow button with a link. And if you press that, it takes you to the survey as well. So those are all different kinds of ways that you can fill those out. Sometimes you want to take a picture of the QR code because you can't do the survey right away. and you want to save it for later. So your options on however is most comfortable for you. So our first survey, we're embarking right now, we're starting on developing SOC's plan for the next couple of years. But it's super important that you let us know what's important to you, especially after the pandemic. We all know the pandemic made us really think hard about what's important to us and how we want to live. And so we don't want to assume life is the same as it was before the pandemic. And so we want to check in with you now on what are your top dreams? What are you and your family's top needs? We have a series of different community areas of action and service, and you'll be ranking those like this is somewhat important to me, not important to me, important to me, or very important to me. And really, that's going to guide where SOC puts its energy for the next couple of years for our neighbors who live with us on the south side. So we invite you to fill out that survey. None of the surveys or registrations are long. They take less than 5 minutes. And so it shouldn't take a big sacrifice of time, but it does have a big impact. And so the post-pandemic survey, we'll put the slide up now. You'll see the link and you can start the survey now, or you can save the link and do it a little later. You'll see the QR code. And like I said, you can use that or save that to do that a little later. So we appreciate you in advance. We honor your time. That's why we're doing the drawing. And imagine if you did all the surveys today, you'd be entered into the first 4. So that's up to $200 opportunity to win. And it's right before the holiday, folks. So I know you could use some extra money. And then the last one is to like us on our social media platforms, and you can win a drawing for $25 for each of those. So please cooperate, and we want to be able to serve you as you see fit. Thank you. Great. I want to remind you of some important voting information. The polls are open until 8 today, and it shouldn't take you more than 15, at most 30 minutes if there's a big crowd, to vote on the south side. And if you're in line by 8 p.m., they must allow you to vote. And if you have problems voting, please call the ACLU voter hotline. For English speakers, that's 1-866-OUR-VOTE. 1-866-OUR-VOTE. For Spanish speakers, that's 1-888-VE-Y-VOTA. VE-Y-VOTA. I want to do a couple of things. I want to remind you again, this is our last segment. So I'd really love for you to say hi. We can give you a shout out in the comments. Otherwise, we don't know that you're with us. And the other thing I want to explain is that no, I don't have magic abilities to change the location that I'm at. This is my work office, and the promos that I'm doing, I record it at my home office, and that's why you see a different background. Let's go, and I want to be able to share with you the central website that gives you any information you need about voting. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second to do that. And I'm going to My Vote Wisconsin. You can get here. The address is myvote.wi.gov. And here is all the information you need to know about voting if you're unsure yet this evening. For folks who are in the military overseas, you can search by your name, you can search by your address. What I'm going to do is go through each of the tabs so that you feel familiar enough to dig in on the website. So here in the first tab, my voter information, if you put your first and last name and your date of birth here, which I'm not going to do an example of because it's not safe to share that information, and I encourage you not to do that as well. But if you do that, it'll pop up a list of the elections you have voted in case you forget and want to be reminded. It'll check your voter registration. Here you can update your name and address For the next election, you can request an absentee ballot and track your ballot, and you can even find who are your current elected officials. And if you want to find your voting place, now this is important because after the census in some cases changed district boundaries. Why is that important? Because if a district boundary changed, it's possible that your voting location changed. So if you haven't voted since the census, you want to double check your voting location. And here I can do an example because I'll put in SOC's address, our office. Now we're not open to the public yet since the pandemic. We hope to open soon, but you can still contact us in all the ways you have been. Phone, which you did before the pandemic anyway, um, email, social media. So we're still available in all those ways and we're staying in contact with you. So here we go. If I lived at the office, this is where I'd vote, Dörfler School, and you'll get whatever location your location is. This one happens to be Dörfler School for the office. It'll give you the voting location or the voting poll address. It'll give you time, so they're open till 8, and it'll even give you your ward number as you go in. You know, there's usually different tables set up for wards. And then it shows you the map and it'll give you directions. And so this is an easy way to find your polling place, available all the time, 24 hours a day. And then if you want to know what's on the ballot for today, and let me tell you, there's some really important elections and 2 referendums I don't think got enough education and outreach exposure so that you all know. So what's on your ballot? We're going to use the SOC address again to see if we lived here and we had to go vote at Dörfler, what would be on our ballot. So we're going to take a look at that. On our ballot, of course, I'm sure you're quite aware, is our governor and lieutenant governor race. So that's an important election happening right now. In addition to that, there is the election for the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, the State Treasurer. We have a U.S. Senate seat up for election, super important, a congressional seat, a state senator seat, a state assembly representative seat, the sheriff for the county clerk of circuit court. And then here are 2 referendums. Referendums are items elected officials can ask on an election day to get the people's opinion on important matters. And this time we have 2 referendums. And like I shared before, I don't think they did nearly enough outreach and education about the referendums that were happening during this election. The first referendum is the county firearms referendum. And I'm just going to read it to you so that you're familiar with it. So when you get to the polling place, you'll understand what your decision is. Should the Wisconsin legislature prohibit the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of semi-automatic military-style firearms, whose prohibition is allowed under the Wisconsin and United States Constitution? Super important question to answer. And then the second referendum is the Milwaukee County marijuana referendum. And it reads, do you favor allowing adults 21 years of age and older to engage in the personal use of marijuana while also regulating commercial marijuana-related activities and imposing a tax on the sale of marijuana? So super important stuff, and you can find out what's on your ballot right here at myvote.wisconsin.gov. And then you could update your name and address if you wish to online. You could register to vote. You could vote by absentee mail. You can track your ballot. And you can vote absentee in person. Now, I'm not getting into some of these register to vote, absentee, etc. right now because we have guests speaking specifically to those things, and I don't want to duplicate that information, but it's coming up, so stay tuned. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You can also access that website in Spanish. So that's a really important piece of information that you can feel comfortable accessing. All right, let's see if we have anyone who said hello in the comments so we can greet you. Sonia Lopez, thank you for coming back, Sonia. We appreciate you being with us. Okay, folks, if you're here with us, let us know you're here. We'd really like to say hi. Also, if you did vote and you know what number you were at your polling place, we're interested in knowing what that number was for your location. All right, we're going to move on to the next portion of our Vote-A-Thon. And here's where we're going to start with our special promotions that we hope you engage in. We want you to, we have to set the agenda for the work that we're getting to do for the next couple of years. And the way I and the staff set our priorities is to talk to you all. And one of the ways we do that is surveys. That's one of the ways. And so I'm going to ask you to really consider filling out this survey on what SOC should focus on. So go ahead and share that information, Jinx. All right, folks, we're ready for our second opportunity for you to engage with us. You earlier, if you were with us earlier, you heard about our survey regarding the post-pandemic survey, asking you what your dreams and needs are as we set our plans for the next couple of years. And if you didn't, if you're just joining us now, you can go back in the comments for the forum and you should be able to see the link and the QR code for that. If not, I'm also going to ask the folks who are on comments to put the post-pandemic title in the comment, post-pandemic survey, put the link for the post-pandemic survey and the QR code again while we move on to the next opportunity. We, like many of you, were not able to celebrate milestones during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, SOC turned 30. 30 years of service during the pandemic. And now it's been a couple of years. So we're ending our 30 plus 2 more years, our 32nd anniversary. SOC happens to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. And we're very proud of that legacy. But we feel the responsibility to continue our mission even more in these times. And so because we weren't able to celebrate, we launched a campaign this year to celebrate our anniversary with an engagement opportunity. So the campaign is called 30+2 with you. And what we're doing is recruiting Block ambassadors. The Block ambassadors are going to make sure that the people just on their block know of information, resources, and action opportunities by going door to door and distributing materials when there are big things happening or a new housing resource comes out, when we have our major events, when we do cleanups. And so if you're willing to be an ambassador for your block and just give out information to your neighbors, leaving it at their door, and also if you're willing to just listen to and pay attention to what your neighbors are needing. For instance, they might say, we always have problems with the city not cleaning our street, or we don't get our recycling picked up on time, or we're concerned about the crime in this area, or we heard there's a promotion to get, cameras, Ring cameras, etc. Then the ambassador communicates that on behalf of their neighbors to SOC, and we can all work together to address our dreams and our needs. And so we have a registration, and you'll see a link to the registration and a QR code. And again, I'll be repeating this all day because I know I had troubles the first time I learned how to use a QR code. It's a little square that has all kinds of little black and white designs on it. And if you pull up your camera to it, it'll pop up like a yellow button, a link, and you can click on it and it takes you to wherever the address of that link is, so you'll be able to fill out the registration there. And I want to remind you that we have 4 of these opportunities throughout the day, and it has to be completed today. And if you complete it today, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card. And you have 4 opportunities to do that today, which is $200. And then at the end of the forum, you'll be asked to engage with us on social media, and we are doing drawings for a $25 gift card if you do those things later today. And so altogether, it's $275 of gift cards we're giving out today. And I'm sure you would really appreciate a little help for life today or some holiday spending monies. So please do fill that out, and we'll be in contact with you. The 30 plus 2NU has also benefits. Any major event or activity we do, those people who've been faithfully serving as ambassadors will be able to attend many of our events for free. And so we'll be meeting once a quarter in person. We'll be meeting monthly, virtually. And then we have our conference and our Legacy Retro Ball, and you'll get free entrance into that if you were faithful with your ambassador role. So it's a give and get situation we invite you to join us in. So that slide is going to come up, and please do that right away. None of our engagement opportunities take more than 5 minutes today. So you can do that immediately, or you can save those things and make sure you get them in by midnight today. I see that we have Glady with us back today. So happy to see her. Glady is our inaugural president of our staff alumni, and she says, I was number 85. That's encouraging. So thank you for sharing with that with us. And anybody else who's here, please drop in a line so we can say hello. We're going to invite our next guest interview up. We will be hearing from Vote-A-Thon Zuniga, who is the election operations and training manager with the City of Milwaukee Election Commission. And let's pull up that guest, and I'll be back with you as soon as that's over.
Okay. All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is the Elections Operations and Training Manager of the Milwaukee Elections Commission, Jonathan Zuniga. Welcome, Jonathan. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role as Elections Operations and Training Manager is.
Thank you, Jinx. Yeah, my name is Jonathan Zuniga. I work at the Election Commission, and I oversee all of the election day voting, so all 180 polling locations, poll workers, and their training, the supplies and equipment that goes all out to the sites, and to make today's election happen.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. And so going into voting, can you go into details about absentee voting, like how that goes on and what the process would look like?
Well, today, if anyone still has their absentee ballot at home, they request it, and you are not sure what to do with it, you really have 2 options. If you have voted your ballot, get a witness to sign your envelope, and you can return that absentee ballot to our central count location, the Wisconsin Center, on Bell Phillips and Wisconsin Avenue. If you don't want to return the absentee ballot, okay, you can go to your regular polling site and vote as a regular voter there. So just make sure to take your photo ID, and before heading out, go to myvote.wi.gov to make sure you are going to the correct polling location.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that information. And for the address, we'll put those in the comments as well. And is there anything you'd like to add about voter identification or voter registration? Anything the community should know about there?
Well, one, if you are already a registered voter, like I mentioned before, please make sure that before you head out to the polls, you check that you are going to your designated polling site. So just go to myvote.wi.gov just to double check there's been redistricting and some of the wards and polling places change. So it's always good to double check before heading out. And then two, if you are already a registered voter, make sure to take your photo ID, and that can be most commonly your Wisconsin ID or driver's license. But if you lost that, or if you don't have one, you can also use your passport, a Wisconsin college ID. You can use, if you're in the military, your military ID or veterans ID, a Wisconsin tribe ID. So there's a couple of other options that you can use as well. But make sure you take that form of acceptable photo ID. And if you moved within, in the last, since the last time you voted, if you legally changed your name and you want to register, or you're just turning 18 and you are a new voter, today in Wisconsin, you can register today on election day at your designated polling place. So again, just make sure you go to your correct polling place, take your photo ID, and take a proof of residence document. So that could be, again, your Wisconsin driver's license or ID with your address, with your current address. But your proof of residence can be also a re-energies bill, bank or credit card statement. It could be a paycheck stub, or any letter of any government agency, whether it's Social Security, Medicare, any government department at the city, county, or federal level that has your name and your current address. You can also use that as a proof of residence document.
All right, perfect. Very helpful. And then if people have any further questions, is there a resource or a place that they can go to find more information?
Yes, you can, again, myvote.wi.gov. You can check your polling place. You can see what's on the ballot. You can also just check your registration status if you're not sure if you're registered at your current address. If you want to talk to someone, give us a call, 414-286-3491. And we have English and Spanish speakers here staffing those phone calls and can answer your questions and provide any assistance that people may need.
All right. Well, thank you for the great information. That, of course, helps our neighbors have the resources to stay in the loop and make informed decisions. We at SOC appreciate everyone watching this, and we want to thank you, Jonathan, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. I hope everyone who is eligible to vote remembers to vote. And have a good night.
Thank you, Jonathan and Jinx, for bringing us that very important information. At this time, we have another promotion for you. So we're asking you to fill out the post-pandemic survey. We asked you if you want to be an ambassador for your block. And now here's another opportunity to partner with us. We are launching the 2023 Strategic Action Session team. And we hope you really consider joining us, as that group takes on some of the heavier topics and issues of importance to the community. So let's share that opportunity with folks. All right, folks, we're ready for our second opportunity for you to engage with us. You earlier, if you were with us earlier, you heard about our survey regarding the post-pandemic survey, asking you what your dreams and needs are as we set our plans for the next couple of years. And if you're just joining us now, you can go back in the comments for the forum and you should be able to see the link and the QR code for that. If not, I'm also going to ask the folks who are on comments to put the post-pandemic title in the comment, post-pandemic survey, put the link for the post-pandemic survey and the QR code again while we move on to the next opportunity. We, like many of you, were not able to celebrate milestones during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, SOC turned 30. 30 years of service during the pandemic. And now it's been a couple of years. So we're ending our 30 plus 2 more years, our 32nd anniversary. SOC happens to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. And we're very proud of that legacy. But we feel the responsibility to continue our mission even more in these times. And so because we weren't able to celebrate, we launched a campaign this year to celebrate our anniversary with an engagement opportunity. So the campaign is called 30+2 with you. And what we're doing is recruiting Block ambassadors. The Block ambassadors are going to make sure that the people just on their block know of information, resources, and action opportunities by going door to door and distributing materials when there are big things happening or a new housing resource comes out, when we have our major events, when we do cleanups. And so if you're willing to be an ambassador for your block and just give out information to your neighbors, leaving it at their door, and also if you're willing to just listen to and pay attention to what your neighbors are needing. For instance, they might say, we always have problems with the city not cleaning our street, or we don't get our recycling picked up on time, or we're concerned about the crime in this area, or we heard there's a promotion to get, cameras, ring cameras, etc. Then the ambassador communicates that on behalf of their neighbors to SOC, and we can all work together to address our dreams and our needs. And so we have a registration, and you'll see a link to the registration and a QR code. And again, I'll be repeating this all day because I know I had troubles the first time I learned how to use a QR code. It's a little square that has all kinds of little black and white designs on it. And if you pull up your camera to it, it'll pop up like a yellow button, a link, and you can click on it and it takes you to wherever the address of that link is. So you'll be able to fill out the registration there. And I want to remind you that we have 4 of these opportunities throughout the day, and it has to be completed today. And if you complete it today, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card. And you have 4 opportunities to do that today, which is $200. And then at the end of the forum, you'll be asked to engage with us on social media, and we are doing drawings for a $25 gift card if you do those things later today. And so altogether, it's $275 of gift cards we're giving out today. And I'm sure you would really appreciate a little help for life today or some holiday spending monies. So please do fill that out, and we'll be in contact with you. The 30+2 NU has also benefits. Any major event or activity we do, those people who've been faithfully serving as ambassadors will be able to attend many of our events for free. And so we'll be meeting once a quarter in person. We'll be meeting monthly, virtually. And then we have our conference and our Legacy Retro Ball, and you'll get free entrance into that if you were faithful with your ambassador role. So it's a give and get situation we invite you to join us in. So that slide is going to come up, and please do that right away. None of our engagement opportunities take more than 5 minutes today. So you can do that immediately, or you can save those things and make sure you get them in by midnight today. We are so pooped out at the end of the day. I'm sorry that promotion came up twice. And what we intended for was to share about our strategic action session group. So we're going to roll that if you just be patient with us right now. So Jinx, can you share the SAS recruitment for the team for 2023 right now with folks, that video? All right, folks, we're on our 3rd opportunity during the Vote-A-Thon for you to engage with us. And what's great about those opportunities is every time you engage in one of them, you complete that task, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card, for a drawing to win a $50 gift card. And there are 4 surveys or engagement opportunities that there are $50 gift cards. And then at the end, we have 3 social media platforms we invite you to follow us on, and that could enter you to, that enters you into win $25 gift cards for each of those. And so this next one, we talked earlier about the post-pandemic survey. And so I'll ask the folks who are putting the comments to please put the link to the post-pandemic survey and QR code up in the comments. So if you missed that earlier, that's asking you what your dreams and needs are now as we set the plans for SOC for the next couple of years. And then at the last forum update, we shared that you can sign up to be an ambassador for our 32 plus you campaign, where you agreed to be the ambassador for your block, sharing information, you know, dropping off flyers, etc. on your block, doing a cleanup for your block once a year, listening to your neighbors and their concerns and relaying those to SOC. That'll include a monthly meeting, a quarterly in-person event, and free entrance into all of our major activities like our conference and our retro ball if you've executed your ambassador role successfully for the period of time. And so right now what we're doing is all next year in 2023, we are putting together a SOC strategic action session, a group of folks from across the Southside district to come together to address whatever issues are super important that come from that survey and other needs that arise in the community. For instance, this year we did a round of SAS, the SOC strategic action sessions around the affordable housing crisis. And so we invite you to participate. We're recruiting a dozen folks. So if you apply, we hope that we will be able to put together a solid group who are committed to meeting once a month. And usually what happens is we ask folks, what do you think about this problem? What's causing this problem? And then what are your solutions to the problem? Because we believe the people who have lived the experience are in the best position to identify what the real problems are and what the solutions are. And then once we do a round of voice for our neighbors, then we add, well, this is some data that has been published around or shared around this issue. And this is some information from subject matter experts. And then you all will review your answers in light of that data and that information from the subject matter experts. And then we finalize recommendations and we work as a group to take any action that the group is interested in taking together. If you're part of that group, you will get a $50 stipend every time you complete a session throughout the year. And so that's up to $600 in a year. Why? Because professionals get paid. We all get paid for doing our work, and we value your time as well. And so we want to make sure that while you're deciding how to meet your family's needs, that you don't eliminate coming to the action sessions because you have to meet, you know, how do you pay rent, and how do you purchase food, and how do you look for a new job, and how do you take care of your household and work with and do homework with your kids and take care of them, that it has a benefit for coming that will bless you and or your family. And so please fill out the SAS registration form. It only takes a couple of minutes. You'll see a link shared on a slide in a couple of seconds with a QR code. And again, I'm explaining what the QR codes are over and over today, every round that we do, just in case we have new people who joined us. So it's a little square that has all these designs in it. And you take your camera and you put it on photo and you put it over the QR code. And then in the picture of your, on the screen on your camera, it'll pop up a little yellow like button that is the link to the survey. So you can click on the link in the comments bar. You can copy the link that appears on the screen, or you can go to it with the QR code. And again, if you do that, you'll be entered into a drawing to win $50. You have to do it today before the end of the day, by midnight. And then we're going to do the drawing tomorrow on Facebook Live. So pay attention and join us on Facebook to see if you were the person who won any of the drawings that we've done today. So go ahead and do that now, and we'll pull up the slide for you. All right, we're going to share our next interview, which is with Anita Johnson. She's the outreach and training coordinator with Souls to the Polls, and she's going to talk about how to get rides to the polls.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is Anita Johnson from Souls to the Polls. Welcome, Anita. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role is at Souls to the Polls.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this interview. I am Anita Johnson. I work with Souls to the Polls. I am their outreach and training coordinator. I have been with Souls to the Polls since its inception. So I've been through a lot of different elections. And I'm very excited about this one and hoping that we can get more and more people out to vote, which is a challenge. But, you know, that's life. So we're going to do our best to make sure people get to the polls to vote.
All right, definitely, definitely. We appreciate all the work because it can be a challenge. So now let me get into some questions so people get to know what Souls to the Polls is. What resources does Souls to the Polls, like what are they focusing on for the general fall elections that are coming up?
Well, usually we want everybody to get to the polls to vote, but we usually focus on the churches. And we go into the churches and we educate the parishioners in the churches about any changes in the voting laws that would affect them when they go to the polls to vote, so they know what is expected of them when they get to the polls to vote. We also offer rides to the polls for those who don't have a car or they're handicapped. We offer rides to the polls to help people get to the polls. But my thing is the training to make sure people know what's expected of them when they vote. And that's with the absentee ballot and when you go to the polls to vote.
Mhm. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, it's very important to get educated on, you know, how to vote and what you're voting for and how to do it.
Right.
All right, and then is there any additional resources that are available for people when they get in contact with someone from Souls to the Polls?
Sure, you know what, people can always call me, and I don't mind putting my number out there. I'm at 414-899-3386. So if anybody has any questions about voter registration, absentee ballots, what to expect when they get to the polls to vote, or photo ID, I will do my best to answer those questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out the correct answer and get back to you. We also offer rides to the polls for early vote, but we will not be starting the early ride program until October 31st. And this is the telephone number you can call, 414-742-1060. Early vote starts today, October 25th until November 5th. And we also are offering rides on November 8th.
All right, awesome. All right. Very essential. Yes, very important.
If you have any other questions or you want to go to our website, that's www.soulstothepollswisconsin.org.
All right. And then do you think you could spell that? There's a few variations of souls to the, like souls, the word. Is it
Okay,
S?
it is souls, SOULS, to the POLLSWI.org.
Right.
And it's a plethora of information there as well. But I'm always happy to answer any questions that anybody might have about voting.
All right, perfect. Thank you for being a resource to the people. We all appreciate your work very much. And
Thank
is there
you.
any additional information you'd like to give to the public? Any reminders?
If you're going to register to vote at the polls, make sure you bring proof of residence. You must live in your residence for 28 days. If you have not lived in your residence for 28 days, go back to your old polling site and vote. But please change your address. You can go to www.myvote.wi, and you can change your address. You can find out where your polling site is if you're unsure of that. So if you're going to register at the polls, make sure you bring proof of residence, and that can be a bill, a lease, a bank statement. Make sure you take your ID to the poll, and that can be a Wisconsin driver's license, state ID, a passport, Indian card, a veteran's card. There's a plethora of things that you can take as photo IDs when you go to the polls to vote.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that information. Again, very helpful, very useful. It can be a whole task to vote if you don't have the right information. So we're glad there's, people like you and Souls to the Polls to help out. And all right, that concludes today's questionnaire interview. We appreciate you having been with us today, Anita. I hope you and everyone watching this has a good night, and everyone that's eligible remembers to vote. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita and Jinx. If you notice the pattern amongst our guests, they're all mentioning, almost all of them, myvote.wisconsin.gov site. We have another opportunity for you all to engage with us, which is to tell us how we did on today's Vote-A-Thon. So we'd like to hear what's working for you and what we need to change. So let's go ahead and share the details of the survey. Okay, folks, we're on our number 4 opportunity for today's Vote-A-Thon to have you engage with us in some way. We've done 3 opportunities throughout the forum. Every time you have participated in one of those, you were entered into a drawing to receive $50. And so a total of 200, now 4 opportunities are available to be entered into, in addition to the social media, which will be the next promo we do. And you'll have opportunities to win $25 gift cards for each of our social media platforms, and I'll explain that in the next session. The one we're doing today is the survey of our forum. When the forum ends today, we'd like to know what was really useful for you and what we could do better. Because in essence, we're doing this to support your information needs and your ability to vote, to understand everything about voting and answer your last minute questions. And so we'd like you to fill out the forum survey. You'll see a slide up here shortly here on the camera, and it'll share a link and it'll share a QR code. And I've been sharing all day how to use a QR code, because the first time I did it, I was really confused. So what you do is there's a little box that appears with a bunch of squiggly designs on it. You take your camera and you put it over the QR code. You wait a little bit. It pops up a little yellow oval hotspot that if you click, it'll take you to the survey, or you can click on the link. The staff right now, I'm going to ask them to put up the former surveys in case you missed them. The first one was the post-pandemic survey. We want to know what your dreams and needs are as we make plans for SOC for the next couple of years. So we'll put the title post-pandemic survey in the comments. It'll have a link and the QR code for you to do that survey. None of these surveys take more than 5 minutes, so it's really a good use of your time, especially in light of being able to potentially win some cash to meet your family's needs or to have extra holiday spending money. And then the next one I'm going to ask the staff to put up again is the 30 plus 2 with you campaign link and QR code. And those of you who are willing to be an ambassador for your block, we ask you to fill out that survey, that means you're going to be handing out information and resources to your neighbors. You're willing to organize a cleanup on your block once a year, and you'll be listening to what your neighbors' needs are, and you can communicate that with us. We'll be meeting once a month virtually. We'll be meeting once a quarter in person and or virtually for some of those people who are homebound. And then the former one we shared, the third one, was if you're interested in joining us to form a monthly group that addresses issues in the community. We literally get together and talk about a topic and say, what do you think the real problems are? We've done COVID in the past. We've done affordable housing crisis. We've done hate crimes. We've done relations with the police department. And so you'll come together and say, this is what we think the problems are with these issues. These are some of the solutions. And then we share some data on the issue and some information from subject matter experts. And then you consider that while you finalize your plans. And then we decide what actions we take. Sometimes it's just sending recommendations to a certain body. Other times it's really digging in and making sure that the solutions are listened to and implemented by whatever officials are in charge of that. And so this one is the forum survey. And so I'll ask now for the slide for the forum survey to come up. You'll see the link, the QR code, and you can fill it out. Make sure you do all of these by the end of the day in order to be entered into the drawing. And then tomorrow, we'll post the winners on Facebook Live. Go ahead and pull up that slide, please. Okay, folks, we're going to share that in a second, that slide and the promo and the links. It looks like Stacy got the link in the comments for you. There we go. Go ahead, Jinx. There's a QR code, and there is the link, and it's also in the comments. All right, we're going to move on. Our next interview is with Nick Ramos. He is the Voter ID Coalition Coordinator for VoteRiders, and he's going to talk to us on how to get help from beginning to end on getting your voter ID.
All right. Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is Nick from VoteRiders. Welcome, Nick. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role with VoteRiders is.
Well, thank you, Jinx. My name is Nick Ramos. I am the Wisconsin Voter ID Coalition Coordinator with VoteRiders. And so with that position, I run the organization statewide, and we help people get vital documents like IDs, birth certificates, and social security cards.
All right, awesome. So with general elections coming up on November 8th, do you think you could go into a little bit more of what VoteRiders does for the community?
Absolutely. So in my role, I work with a variety of partners across the entire state that do really good work within the communities that they live and that they serve in. And we try and identify those individuals who may lack a valid issued government ID or the vital documents that one would need to be able to acquire that ID. And in Wisconsin, typically, that would be a birth certificate or a social security card. And so what we constantly try and do is we try and get information out to those communities and let them know that there's this free resource. VoteRiders pays for the documents that one would need to be able to get an ID. So if you needed a birth certificate, we'll pay for it. If you need to get an ID, we'll pay for it. Social security cards are free, but a lot of times we have issues like trying to get people verified on the Social Security website. So what we'll do is we'll pay for the transportation one would need to go to the Social Security office that's close to them, and then be able to get that Social Security card. And so it's a lot of community events, a lot of programming around, neighborhoods across the state of Wisconsin to let people know so that they can not feel like there's a ton of barriers when it comes to like getting those documents.
Yeah, no, yeah, it can get pretty complicated for voting for the average person who, it's paperwork in places and you got to get the right timing. And so, no, yeah, it's a great resource to know. And then, so let's say someone does have to get, a birth certificate to vote. Where could they go or who could they get in contact with for that?
Absolutely. So if you have access to the internet, you can go on to our website, which is voteriders.org. If you have access to a phone, you can call our hotline, which is you can call it 24 hours a day. And especially during election time, I'm almost positive right now that they're taking live phone calls. So that number is 844-338-8743. And then you can also email us. We have an email. It's info@voteriders.org. And then another thing I forgot to mention, on Facebook, we have a chat bot. So if you go and search VoteRiders, you can literally go onto our page, and then a chat bot will appear, and it'll ask if you want us to speak to you in English or in Spanish, and then if you need ID help, and then you'll get connected with a live, breathing human being that will work with you on acquiring whatever documents you need.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you for all that information. That's very, very vital, especially seeing as things somehow get complicated as the years go by for voting. But yeah, we'll plug in all those numbers in the comments as well. So yeah, thank you for all that information. Very good for the community to have. Is there any last reminders you want to give to the people?
Yeah, no, whenever you're seeing this, I encourage everybody, whether you decide you want to vote in this election or you decide you want to vote in a future election, to, you know, come up with that plan. And, if you need help, like acquiring documents, or you just want information about polling location, registration, any of that stuff, you can contact VoteRiders. We're not married to any election. We want to help you acquire these documents, not only for voting, but also for jobs, for housing. So please, whether it's now or whether it's down the road, just know that you have an organization that will work with you wherever you're at in the process and help you get the documents you need.
All right, perfect. Thank you for all the information. And all right, well, we appreciate you for being here with us today, Nick. We hope you and everyone watching this has a good night. And I hope everyone who is eligible remembers to vote and everyone goes out there and uses the resources that they have. All right, have a good day.
Hey, you too.
Thank you, Nick, for that information and all that you do, and Jinx for landing that interview for our neighbors. We're going to go ahead and encourage you to follow us on our social media, so you can go ahead and roll that piece. All right, folks, our Vote-A-Thon for the fall 2020 general election, is coming to an end. Thank you for spending your day with us. We have hopes that the information and resources and the questions we answered for you today helped you to vote today. Your vote is your voice, and we want to make sure everyone on the South Side has an opportunity to express their voice through their vote. And as you've heard me say many a times, if the South Side votes, we have a huge impact in elections here in the city and the county especially, and even on the state level and the federal level, of course, when those opportunities come up. Our last engagement opportunity is here now. And so I want to review the different opportunities we've had through the day and ask you, if you didn't get a chance to do them, you want to do them. Why? One, it either is lifting your voice or giving you an opportunity to impact your life and your community in collaboration with us. The other reason is because every time you fill out a survey, or you're willing to serve or get involved and fill out a registration, you're entered into a drawing for a $50 gift card, which will come in really handy for either your family's needs right now or for extra holiday shopping money as we enter the holiday season. I'm sorry for those of you who have to hear this for the 5th time today, but in case people are joining us for the first time, I want to share that a QR code is a little box with a design in it. And if you take your camera and put it up against the QR code, it'll pop up oval. In mine, it's yellow. I'm assuming it's yellow for everyone else, but I don't know. It'll pop up a little oval button, and if you press it, it takes you to the survey. And so you can use the link. You can write the link on the slide that's going to pop up. You can click the link in the comments, or you can use a QR code. And if it's all happening a little too fast for you, we'll be posting this video up on our Facebook site, and you'll be able to go back to it. And or you can take pictures of it, the QR codes, and do them later as well. And so this last opportunity is really 3 opportunities in one. We want to stay connected with you, so we're asking you to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. For each one of those that you follow, you'll be entered into a drawing for $25. So what we'll do is at the end of today, you got to do all of this work, but I'm telling you, every one of those is really short. You'll do that today by midnight, and then tomorrow we're going to post all the winners on our Facebook Live. So you'll want to pay attention to that. So what we'll do is we'll see who followed us new on Facebook, who followed us new on Instagram, who followed us on LinkedIn, connected on LinkedIn. And from those people, we'll make a drawing and then pull names. So go ahead and do that. That's a really quick win. That's even easier than filling out a short survey or short registration. And so we invite you for all of those opportunities. If you entered all of them, now don't register if you really don't want to do an activity. But if you're interested in doing that, we really do invite you. The surveys, please do. We have the post-pandemic survey, the 30+2 and you opportunity. If you're willing to serve as a Block ambassador, think about that and join us if you're really interested. And then our SOC strategic action session group, that's going to meet once a month, and we invite you to join that. And then fill out the forum survey, because we want to know what's working for you on these forums and what we need to change to better serve you. And then we want you to follow us on social media. So that's an opportunity altogether for $275 in gift cards for you to win. So please do engage in those. And we hope that we served you well today during this election day, and that you voted to have your voice heard, and that you stay connected with us to continue to make sure that you're represented in all that happens in our community. Thank you, and have a blessed evening. Well, folks, this concludes the Vote-A-Thon for the fall 2022 general election, and I want to end with just thanking several folks. One, I want to thank all of you who have voted today, and if you haven't, you still have time to get to your polling place by 8. And if you're in line, they must let you vote. I want to thank the volunteers that join us, like our youth, Alexis, who was with us. She was doing some of her service, community service for school with us. I want to thank all of our collaborators. Today we had the Milwaukee Election Commission, Souls to the Polls, VoteRiders. And I want to thank our staff team and give a shout out. It was a long day. We even getting foggy brain at the end of the day, including myself. So I want to thank Jinx for producing, Stacy for being a backup producer and doing comments. I want to thank Jeanette, our youth coordinator, for co-hosting 2 segments and preparing Alexis, our youth. I want to thank the rest of the staff that was holding up the fort in different ways. I want to thank Miranda, our interpreter, who was with us for each of the sessions. I want to thank our board for just being great, supportive leaders, and for the partners who partner with us in funding the work that we do so we can serve you. Have a safe evening. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to collaborating and partnering with you for many years to come.
Has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take our quick survey that's located in our comments section so that we can get your feedback on how to keep this live forum going for residents. Thanks for tuning in.